What's good? What's good? What's good? Hope everyone having a blessed night. Y'all know what it is. We may be a little late, but HBCU Fanatics is in the building. What's going on? Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Of course, I have my co-host, Co 67 Sports TV. What's going on, brother?
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I am blessed and highly favored. Hopefully, you are doing well this evening, bro. Hopefully, everyone else is doing well. The Fanatics are in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just got done watching Coach Prime and his Colorado Buffs being outclassed by the Houston Cougars. Yeah, they definitely need to tighten it up. But nothing, no more of that. We talking about HBCU ball, man.
You already
Um,
know.
but let's get into it. Um, I'm hearing Fred McNair has been promoted to the new offensive coordinator for Southern Jaguars. The current um, or the before the move, Mark Frederick was the main uh, offensive coordinator, but you've uh, been the main person saying that he is not the guy. So of course I'm coming to you. What do you think about how this move will it change anything, or what's your thoughts?
Well, truthfully speaking, the move in itself is long overdue because Mark Frederick, he left a lot to be desired as an offensive coordinator. He just wasn't that guy. I mean, you can't run inside zone 40 times a game and expect to beat elite level talent. Just to kind of use my guy C Wells phrase, shout out to C Wells and Swag Talk. Certain teams you could just out talent them. However, when it comes to teams like Jackson State, you have to out scheme them. And he wasn't trying to out scheme anyone. He just was just trying to out talent everybody. And schematically, his inside zone in terms of running it like 40 times a game, it was just trash. As a play caller, you have to, being an offensive coordinator, being a play caller is a skill. And there's a couple things you have to do. One, you have to scaffold in terms of play calling. And in addition to that, and what I mean by scaffolding, like tonight, I did commentary for the Louisiana All American Sports Network. And
Right.
just to kind of give you an example, like they ran like strong pro right, strong pro left, or whatever, and they would give the ball to the full. It was kind of refreshing to see a team actually not run spread. The team that was the Zagreb Broncos, they were playing that Acadiana Rams were playing against. They ran spread, but Acadiana didn't run spread. They ran like a strong wing right. So I'm sorry, strong pro right, and they kept giving the ball to the fullback, and then they gave it to the wingback coming around on like a little reverse. Then
Hmm.
later on, they fake it to the fullback, and they pulled it, and he threw a nice pass down the field. Of course, Zach was just a better team, but from a scouting standpoint, it's like he built up to, all right, you run the ball inside, a handful of times you have success, and then you give it to the wingback coming around on the reverse. Then you run it a few more times, and then you pull it, and you throw the ball on the field. So that's scaffolding. All Mark Frederick wanted to do was just line up and run inside zone 40 times a game. Man, you cannot beat elite level teams in the SWAC. Just being so bland, so basic, so vanilla. No shifting, no motion, no screens to the running backs or wide receivers. No sprint passes, no rollouts, no tunnel screens, bubble screens, jailbreak screens, no screens to the running backs. The play calling and the offense is very bland, basic, and vanilla. In addition to that, um, not only was your offense very bland, basic, and vanilla, it's very predictable. you didn't give the defense a whole lot to think about. And I could really sit in the stands and kind of pretty much tell you what's coming next, like the vast
Mhm.
majority of the time. So you just can't run inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, run zone, read option, whatever the case may be. And not only that, just to make matters worse, Jalen Woods got hurt, got a concussion in 2 of the last 3 games he played in. So, essentially, the guy you've been clamoring for at quarterback, the guy that he really wanted so bad, Cameron McCoy from Jackson State, essentially having him is the equivalent to having Bashawn McCray. You have like a
Mhm.
glorified running back playing quarterback. So not only do you have a terrible play caller, but you have a limited quarterback that's more of an athlete than he is an actual legitimate quarterback. So those two things are very problematic. I think Fred McNair is going to be a better play caller, but in terms of all of the issues that Southern has from as a team, even if you got Jalen Woods back
Mhm.
tomorrow, and having Jalen Woods and Fred McNair, calling your plays, it may help you offensively, but in terms of all the issues they having as a team, all the issues they having as a team from the standpoint of, defensively, the last few years your defense has carried you. However, this year, in terms of your defensive line is like a Pop Tart. It is soft in the middle. What teams have been doing, North Carolina Central kind of initially laid the blueprint. This was one of Southern weaknesses last year, but it wasn't as glaring. That the fact that you had Willie Miles and Devin Cotton in the middle, like it's a huge drop off from the two of them last year on the interior. So, basically what teams do is run the ball inside because run the ball inside. Then they attack off the edge once they get it going up the middle. Southern really can't stop the run. And, we talked about the secondary a lot coming into the season in terms of Horatio Johnson and Herman Bristol III being preseason all SWAC. You got Elijah West. But truthfully speaking, Traylon James, the secondary suspect, the defensive line leaves a lot to be desired. It looks like you have Kelby Givens and 3 substitute defensive linemen a lot. And, the defensive line minus Kelby Givens is pedestrian at best.
Mhm.
Secondary is questionable. From a special team standpoint, Southern struggles. From the standpoint of, Kenny Lee fam the first week, he had a punt for 7 yards, a shank. He's played better, but the punter I saw tonight for the Zachary Broncos, if him and Kenny Lee fam, which is the punter for Southern, if they're the punting competition, I think that young man for Zachary will give him a run for his money, maybe even beat him. And that's not
Damn.
saying a lot from a punt standpoint. It kind of goes to show you that at times Kenny Lee fam, he struggles a great deal as a punter, but it also shows how good this young man, who's a senior in high school, Zachary High, it shows how good a punter he is. The kicker, Nathan Zimmer, he's a freshman, a true freshman. So, he has a lot of growing pains. And in addition to that, Southern has not had an elite level punt kick returner since Willie Quinn. So realistically, Southern is struggling in all 3 phases of the game in terms of offensively because you have a limited quarterback. And not only do you have a limited quarterback, but you had a terrible play call and a terrible offensive coordinator. You got rid of him. You promoted your quarterback coach to being your offensive coordinator. And basically, when they say Fred McNair is a co-offensive coordinator, all it really means is he's going to call the plays. But since Mark Frederick has his system in place, he's going to translate it to the players in his system. So basically, Fred McNair is like the new play caller. And since Mark Frederick's system is already in place, we saw this years ago with the Redskins where midseason they changed offensive coordinators. You might have seen NFL teams do this where one guy is not doing a good job as a play caller, and they bring in a guy or whatever, and the new guy calls the plays, but the new guy The new guy calls the plays, but the old guy, since it's his system, he has to relay the plays to the players since it's his system. So basically, Fred McNair is the new offensive coordinator, but they say co-offensive coordinator because you have to convert those plays into his system. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to help them offensively. But, you still need a better quarterback. It's no telling when Jalen Woods is going to clear concussion protocol. So with Cameron McCoy at quarterback and Fred McNair, is a new play call. I think once you get Jalen Woods back at quarterback and you have Fred McNair as your play caller, I think that can improve your offense. However, it does not fix all the issues Southern has in terms of the defense, and it does not address the issues they have in terms of special teams. It does not address the issues you have in terms of turning the ball over a lot. It does not address the issues you have in terms of the ridiculous amount of penalties. And, I talked about this in my quick post-game reaction. Southern University, for years, despite who has been the coach over these years, they're one of the most penalized teams in the SWAC year in and year out.
They really
Uh,
are.
yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. It speaks to the lack of discipline that they've had over years and years as a team. But I think it also speaks to how terrible, how garbage, and how trash the SWAC officials are. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna just be fully transparent and completely and brutally honest. If I was the commissioner of the SWAC, I would fire literally every single last referee that they have in the SWAC. Probably, definitely in football and basketball, but definitely for football, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I would fire every last SWAC referee they have in the SWAC. The SWAC officials are terrible. Tonight, I did commentary for Louisiana All-American Sports Network high school radio broadcast. Like I said, Acadiana Wrecking Rams can play the Zachary Broncos. And truthfully speaking, the officiating crew that I saw tonight for the Louisiana Athletic Association, LHSSA, that's the referees in the state of Louisiana for high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
Those referees tonight would run circles around the referees that I saw at
Damn.
EW Mumford Stadium, P. Richardson Field last Saturday night. And I'm not gonna lie, as a coach, when I first started coaching, bro, what as a coach, I used to think that because when you're a coach, you want to see things from your perspective,
Right.
just to kind of, and you think every call goes against you. But one thing I noticed over the years, for the exception of, me coaching like certain teams, for the most part, if a referee makes a bad call in favor of the other team, eventually they're gonna make a bad call in favor of your team. If they make a bad call against your team, they're gonna make a bad call against the other team. So at the end of the day, it balances out. And the same thing in basketball. I mean, of course, I think the most egregious calls I've had in my coaching career that's gone against me has been primarily in basketball. But at the end of the day, especially football, I kind of feel like the calls balance out. But the issue I have with the SWAC officials is that the calls are extremely egregious and they don't really seem to balance out. Let me just kind of give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, uh, Zay T-Set was struggling against Bethune-Cookman, right? He was
Mm-hmm.
struggling. So Terrence Graves pulled in and put Jalen Woods in the game. So Southern went down to score. Uh, Bethune-Cookman respond. So it's a tight back and forth game. So Southern is on offense and Jalen Woods throws the ball to Chandler Whitfield. The defensive back for Bethune-Cookman literally is trying to rip Chandler Whitfield's jersey off. And he was standing right there and he called nothing. The ensuing possession, Bethune-Cookman has the ball. And it's the exact same play. And Horatio Johnson, he has a tendency to be a little bit handsy. And, he wasn't as egregious as Bethune-Cookman defensive back, in my opinion, but it was clearly a pass interference call. And they called the pass interference call against Southern. And my point is the exact same play, like literally the exact same play. And You call the pass interference against Southern, but when Bethune-Cookman does it, you're literally standing right there and you make no call. So that's the issue with SWAC officials. It's the lack of consistency. And we saw the same thing Saturday night. There was an instance where Alabama State offensive tackle tackled Kelby Givens. The referee called nothing, but there was a big play. I think Southern converted on a third down or something along those lines, and they called a holding penalty against Southern. And then another instance, Bethune. I mean, not can't be saying Bethune. Alabama State. Uh, you know, Andrew Body, he dropped back the pass, and Southern got to stop. And they got off the field. Instead of calling a defensive holding penalty on the side of the field where Andrew Body threw the ball, they called a defensive holding penalty away from the ball on the opposite side of the field. So I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty. It's like the double standard and the inconsistency is the thing that got me. And I could give you probably but 100 examples. But when it comes to Southern, it seems like I've never seen, since Southern won the SWAC championship in 1993, I've not seen a team at home. Don't get me wrong, Southern is a huge part of the issue in terms of their lack of discipline. I think even if you had good officials, Southern would be a very penalized team. But just the egregiousness of the calls and the lack of balance is the issue I have with the SWAC officials. And I'm gonna just, because I know people are gonna say, well, Coach, you biased. You graduated from Southern, you're a diehard member of Jaguar Nation. You've been going to Southern University home football games for over 40 years. So let's just take it away from Southern. C. Wells and I was talking about it. Jackson State, I can't think of who they played against last year. And the guy was running up the sideline and he scored a touchdown. But evidently, a coach was standing near the sideline. He wasn't on the field now. Had he been on the field, it would have been a penalty or whatever. They called it back, and it was saying some kind of interference or whatever. And C. Wells was saying, Coach, the coach had no bearing and no impact on the play. The touchdown should have stood for Jackson State, but they called it back from that particular spot or whatever the case may be. And I'm not gonna lie, I've even been to games especially over the years in the Bayou Classic. When you on a national stage, the spotlight really shines on you. As a coaching staff, as a team, but more importantly, from an officiating standpoint. I've been to Bayou Classics over the years where referees don't know the proper calls, and they have to convene multiple times on one play. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I've complained about this over the years. Everybody I know in terms of from a content creation standpoint that are in my inner circles, we all say the same thing about the SWAC. SWAC is just the worst officiating. I'm not gonna even lie. This might sound extreme, but truthfully speaking, a lot of middle school and junior high school officiating crews that I've dealt with, I think are better officials than SWAC referees. And I'm just being honest and being blunt. It may be harsh, but I think if I was a commissioner of the SWAC, that's the first thing I would do. I'll fire every last referee and every last official in the SWAC, especially from a football standpoint. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not just for football. It's for basketball, too. The calls are terrible. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing we want. We want balance. We want consistency. Hey, if you're going to call pass interference on one team, call it on both teams. If you're going to call holding on one team, call it on both teams. And that's just the issue I have with the SWAC officials. They're just egregious in terms of the play, in terms of the calls and the way they officiate the game. It's just terrible. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, when I ripped them, I think this was during, I don't know if it was the SWAC championship game or either it was the SWAC championship game or one of the games leading up to the SWAC championship game. I ripped officiating, and everybody in the comment section was saying, hey, basically, nothing is gonna be done, nothing is gonna change. And C. Wells said the same thing. Shout out to him. Basically, he was saying the commissioner has made it transparent and clear that it's nothing he's gonna do in terms of changing things from an officiating standpoint. It is what it is. They don't want to spend any money or whatever the case may be. And to me, it's not even a monetary issue. I don't think it's a money issue because these referees I saw tonight for the Louisiana High School Athletic Association, they're not getting a ridiculous amount of money. So to me, it's not even a monetary issue. To me, it's just lazy. And even we talked about it on the Southern Baller Show. Shout out to our brother Big Joe Town. We
Hmm.
always have the Air Reed discussion. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later on. But you got to realize in the SWAC, I'm not nah, it's extremely prevalent at Southern, but I think it's prevalent just all around the SWAC. A lot of these coaches that you have in the SWAC, these guys are like lifetime coaches in terms of from a coaching standpoint, they literally coached the entire coaching career in the SWAC. It's a good old boy network. Sometimes it's not even nepotism. In some instances, in a few instances, you might have a little nepotism, but more than anything, it's favoritism. It's who you know, is what fraternity you're in, is what school you went to, whatever the case may be. In many instances, just say a coach get fired from, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. At the end of this season, I think you're gonna see a lot of heads roll in terms of a lot of SWAC teams firing their head coach, but you're gonna see a lot of these same recycled coaches. Just say Southern just decides they want to whitewash their staff. Now you're gonna see a lot of these same coaches on Southern staff recycled up around the SWAC and coaching other SWAC teams. So I think it's too much like favoritism and nepotism and too much politics when it comes to uh, coaches in the SWAC, and not only that when it comes to officiating. Man, I'm not gonna lie. If I was a commissioner, I'd fire every last SWAC official on the spot, no questions asked, because I've seen too many terrible calls, over the last 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, you've been harping about the SWAC officials for years, man. So, and I've seen a lot of bad calls with the SWAC officials. So I know you're not lying,
I mean,
but
don't get me wrong, bro, and I don't want to sound cynical. The reason I'm saying this is because you know to be a human being means you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna we all have we all make mistakes. None of us perfect. We all fall short. So to be human is to be flawed, and you have to give people grace. But there's a difference between making mistakes and just being like extremely incompetent and terrible at your job.
right,
If these whack officials operated in any other capacity in life or any other profession, they will be fired on the spot, no questions asked. And that's the issue. When I've seen, just think about it, bro. Like really, I probably see literally all my life, but definitely for like the last 30 years, easy. Man, I've seen so many just terrible calls. Like it makes me sick to my stomach. The fact that some of these guys are still like been officiating the SWAC for years. And I'm like, in the NFL, I'm not gonna even lie, even in the NFL, if you were like officiating this bad, a lot of these officials they'd have been in the NFL, they'd have been fired by now, truthfully speaking. But it's the
that's
good old
true.
boy network. It's all about who you know, what you know, not what you know. I'm sorry. Let me rewind it. Not what you know, but who you know. And at the end of the day, like uh, you know, I've had my issues with Southern coaching staff, just kind of take it back to the original topic. And I think that's one of the things, it was time for, again, some nepotism, not even nepotism, but favoritism. You know, Mark Frederick and Terrence Graves are friends. And like shout out to Adrian Cook, like Adrian Cook said, like they're not even friends because he said he was a coach when Mark Frederick played for him or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all about in that context is who you know. And that's the reason why he gave his friend a job. Because guess what? I've been a middle school coach for years. If I think having my friend on my staff is gonna hurt my team, man, I'm gonna have to be your friend from a distance. You
You're not
can't
gonna have them
be
on the
on my
staff,
staff.
yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but guess what? When it comes to like these whack officials, if you've been this bad at your job in any other profession for this long, you'd have been fired. So at the end of the day, I hate to say it, it was time for Mark Frederick to go as the offensive coordinator. He's still on the staff because it's still his system. But Fred McNair is the new offensive coordinator. The SWAC officials are completely trash and absolutely terrible. And truthfully speaking, let's be real, Fresno State gonna beat Southern tomorrow night. But
Yeah,
if
unfortunately.
if Jackson State comes to A.W. Mumford Stadium and put a beat down on Southern, I'm not gonna lie, Fred McNair could be potentially upgraded from offensive coordinator to interim head coach. the way it's looking,
Mm.
because I'm not gonna lie, things are looking real bad for Coach Graves and on the bluff and on the yard. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I have to agree, man. Terrence Graves, um, ever since Dooley was fired the year before last, he took over the reins, and uh, it hasn't been looking good, man. It hasn't been looking good, so
Well,
I wouldn't be
I'm not
surprised.
gonna lie. Last year he was able to turn things around, and that's the reason why
Well,
the
I'm
Jim
referring
Woods.
to this year because he pretty much took
No, 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 no.
over.
No, yeah, yeah, I'm getting to that point, bro. You right, but I
Right,
think the thing about it is, you started out bad last year, and he was able to turn things around. But the issue is, this year, I don't think the team, from a talent standpoint, is as good as the team was last year, for one. And second of all, I'm not gonna lie, to use an LDBC phrase and term, sometimes you get guys as good sparring partners, and then sometimes you may give a guy that's a sparring partner an opportunity at being the champion. And I think they gave a guy that's really a sparring partner, who really is a good assistant coach at best. They made him a head coach, and truthfully speaking, I hate to say it, I mean, unless he turns things around to the point where he wins the SWAC West, because winning the SWAC West ain't gonna be good enough for Southern. If he wins the
right.
SWAC championship and then he wins the Celebration Bowl, then he would have that seal of approval by Jaguar Nation. But truthfully speaking, he kind of has the feel of a guy from a boxing standpoint that's a sparring partner that you gave a opportunity to be champion, and he's not that guy, truthfully speaking.
Yeah, I agree, man. And shout out to the people in the chat. Big Reg was the first one of the first ones in here. Well, it was the first one in here. Big Reg hosted Big Boy Talk, man. Salute, fellas, man. Y'all brothers were cooking this evening. You, Jada6 and 86 Ghosts. Appreciate you, brother, man, for stopping by. He said, I see y'all dropping that late night. Yes, sir. That late night fire. Yes, sir. And brother Brent Fox in here, he said, salute to my brothers Jared O. Levin Green and Coach 67 Sports TV. Salute, brother Brent Fox, man. Make sure y'all support him in his show. It's just me on his channel, man. Very good breakdowns, very good opinion. But we're gonna go into last week's scores, man. Week 2, and so of course we know Delaware State came back and beat University of Albany 37-32. Congratulations to Coach Deshaun Jackson getting his first win. And Temple beat up on Howard 55-7. North Dakota State, the perennial FCS champions, beat Tennessee State 59-3. Ohio State, which we all knew, blew out Grambling State 70-0.
70-0.
70-0, man. Yeah. So
Woo!
I hope it was worth it. That money game. Hope it was worth it. Hope,
1.4 million wasn't enough, bro, to be honest.
well, at this point, you just hope all them brothers, man, was able to go home back to
The
Louisiana.
Grambling.
The
Northern
Grambling. Yeah.
Louisiana, yes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like y'all said in the group chat that we have, the Southern Baller Show Collective, salute to the family. Man, for that type of beating, you needed like 4 million. 1.4 wasn't good enough.
Yeah. It's not. Southern Miss almost got a scare against Jackson State, but Jackson State ended up losing 38-20. But Jackson State had a good showing. Old Dominion beat up on North Carolina Central 54-6. California beat Texas Southern 35-3. FAU beat up on Florida A&M 56-14. Uh, and here's another thing. That's why I keep trying to tell people: do not sleep on these Division II CIAA and SIAC teams, Hampton almost got beat by Elizabeth City State 27-20. Almost. Norfolk State, another another example, had a scare against Virginia State, but which they've been rivals, even though Norfolk State is in the MEAC and Virginia State is in the CIAA. They went into overtime, but Norfolk State ended up winning 34-31. Congratulations, Coach Mike Vick, for getting his first win as a head coach. Congratulations. Miami beats up on Bethune Cookman 45-3. South Carolina beats South Carolina State 38-10. Alabama South Carolina State do have a mean little quarterback and wide receiver combination. They can be very dangerous. Uh,
All right.
Alabama A&M beat Alcorn State 41-31.
I
Charlie,
game when I look at the SWAC schedule. That was a game that kind of caught my eye.
yeah, yeah, man. It turned out to be a good game, decent game. Um, Tarleton State beat up on Mississippi Valley State 59-3, which we knew. Central Arkansas beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 41-17. Alabama State beat Southern, unfortunately 37. And then what I didn't want to happen happens: a Southland team, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, beat Prairie View A&M. But at one point, Prairie View A&M was leading, Coach. But University of Texas Rio Grande Valley came back and beat Prairie View A&M. So
Well, when they called a score in A.W. Mumford Stadium, like they were beating Prairie View pretty good, but Prairie View came back, and I think they cut it down to a score, but Prairie View ended up losing at home though.
yeah, at one point they had the lead at one time, but they scored right back and took
All
the
right.
lead. Um, Townsend almost got upset by Morgan State 27-22, and University of Central Florida beat up on North Carolina A&T 68-7. And those were the week 2 scores. Now, with me saying that, we're gonna go into look how what's coming up on week 3, Coach. Uh, we got Howard versus Morehouse tomorrow. It's gonna be
All
on
right.
HBCU Go. So y'all can catch the app is free, ladies and gentlemen. The app is free.
Yes,
HBCU
sir.
Go. You can see some good football. And another Division Two HBCU going against the big brother HBCU coach. Who you got? Morehouse or Howard?
I'm going with Howard, bro.
Of course, of course. I got Howard too. But they
Yeah.
gotta be careful. They gotta come to play.
Oh, it's definitely a
Um,
trap game. I could tell you that much.
absolutely. It could be. Bowie State at Delaware State.
Who you got, bro?
Ugh, this is I'm not gonna lie, they're neighbors. This is neighboring schools. Bowie State is a Division Two HBCU in the DMV area. And Delaware State is MEAC team. So uh, and Bowie State is one of the blue bloods. Um, in the CIAA. So hmm. This really could be a trap game for Coach Jackson. But I think they got. I'm still going Delaware State. They got too many
I'm going.
weapons on
I'm
the
going with.
offensive side of the ball.
I'm going with Delaware State too, bro.
I agree, man. I definitely agree. Um, Definitely agree. Give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to see something. I want to see. Yeah, I knew I was a tripping. Yeah, Bowie State is CIAA. So yeah, but Tuskegee at Jackson on SWAC TV network. I got Jackson State, of course.
Oh, say that again, bro.
Tuskegee at Jackson State on SWAC TV network.
Man,
3
Jackson
p.m.
State, Jackson State gonna roll on them. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree. Too much firepower. Um, Norfolk State at Rutgers. Unfortunately, Rutgers gonna beat Norfolk State.
Beat the brakes off them.
Yeah, cause I got a load of that secondary of Norfolk State. That's one of their biggest weaknesses on that defense. No disrespect for them young men that's playing secondary, but I'm gonna be 100, man. We talking ball, so I'm gonna be 100 with you. Um,
Yeah.
Morgan State at the Toledo. Of course, Toledo's gonna win.
Yep.
Here's a good one, Coach. Here's a good one. Alabama A&M at Tennessee State.
Woo!
Legacy series on ESPN
Honestly,
Plus.
I'm going with Kendrick Grimes in Tennessee State.
Okay. I'm a veer toward Tennessee State as well, but I
Yeah.
think A&M gonna make it ugly.
I'm not gonna lie. A&M is really. This might sound crazy. I think Alabama State is the best team in the SWAC right now. I think Jackson State is right there with them neck and neck.
Yeah,
But really,
I
outside
agree.
of them, I'll probably say Prairie View and Alabama and them are like that next tier. Once you get past those four, I think everybody else in the SWAC is just terrible this year, to be truthful.
No, you're right. You're right. You're definitely right, man.
If I said
Uh,
anything else, fans, listen to us good. All the fanatics that's in the building. If I said anything else, I
say
would
that
be
last
lying. Once you get past, Alabama State and Jackson, Alabama State, in my opinion, is the best team in the SWAC. I feel
okay.
Jackson State is right under them, right there with them. I think after those two, I think the next tier is PV and Alabama A&M.
Hmm.
Then I think once you get by those four teams, I think everybody else in the SWAC is just not that good this year, especially from a secondary standpoint, especially from quarterback play standpoint. Like the SWAC is not that good this year. If I said anything else, I would be lying. That's my honest assessment of the SWAC this season.
I agree. I definitely agree. I can't debate that. I agree with you. Um, Miles, a Division II school, a SIAC school versus Alabama State on the Grio network. Of course, we
Hold
got
up, the
Alabama
grill. And
State.
isn't that the network that Byron Allen used to have or has?
I believe so, but I know my pops watch it. He be watching Sanford Sun and all that on there. So yeah,
Yeah. So what game that was? You said again, bro?
Miles, a SIAC squad, Division II squad versus Alabama State
And Alabama State. You saw? Did did you see the game between Alabama State and
and
Southern?
UAB. Oh, yeah, Southern, yeah,
No, I
absolutely.
just said Alabama State is the best team in the SWAC. Man, they gonna bludgeon Miles.
Yeah, they will. Uh, they will. Bethune Cookman at South Carolina State.
I'm going with South Carolina State.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of people like, man, coach, you wheeling out on the SWAC. I'm just being honest.
Okay. And North Carolina Central is playing an in-state little brother, Division II HBCU little brother, Fayetteville State, another CIAA school,
You said Fayetteville State and who?
and North Carolina Central.
North Carolina Central.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna win. Uh, I don't know. Fayetteville State may give them some blues, but North Carolina Central go figure it out with their running game. And it's gonna open up a lot more. Uh, Alcorn State at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State,
Yeah,
brutally.
yeah. Unfortunately, Kentucky State at Grambling. Another SIAC school versus SWAC.
Kentucky State gonna get the brakes beat off them. And the bad thing about it, there's a guy from my area. He went to Ascension Catholic. He's like a true freshman. He's one of the star players for Kentucky State, and he plays both ways, from what I understand. But basically, you know, Grambling beat the brakes off of Langston. Then Ohio State destroyed Grambling, and I think Grambling gonna try to take it out on
Yeah, they're gonna
Kentucky
take it out on
State.
Kentucky State. Yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna beat the brakes off of Kentucky State.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Lincoln at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff. It's
Yeah,
gonna be.
Pine
I think
Bluff.
it's gonna be a good game, but Pine Bluff is one of the bottom feeders in the SWAC West.
Yeah, Lincoln's one of the bottom feeders in their division as well. So yeah, in the SIAC. So yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be fun for Pine Bluff to to finally beat up on somebody else. But if they mess around, lose the licking, Lord Jesus, boy, it's gonna be a long year for them. God bless them. Albany State.
It's
Go ahead.
already gonna be a long year for them.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's already gonna be a long year for them.
yeah, yeah, and so they better take advantage of playing.
That's another coach that's gonna get fired. I hate to say it, but it is
Yeah,
what it is.
unfortunately, I like him too. I like Coach. I like him, but yeah. Albany State at Florida A&M,
FAMU.
of course. Hampton at North Carolina A&T. Ooh, these teams are familiar with each other.
Yeah,
North Carolina A&T formerly being in the MEAC. It's not gonna be easy for A&T. I still pick A&T, but it's gonna be
I pick
close.
A&T too.
It's gonna be close though. Uh, Prairie View at Rice.
Rice.
Rice, unfortunately. Okay, Mississippi Valley at Southeastern Louisiana.
Man, Southeast gonna beat the brakes off of Valley.
And of course, we already know Fresno State is going to beat up on Southern,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Fresno State by curb stomping.
A curve stomp, for real. And let's see, what are the power rankings? So for the power rankings, right now we got in the SWAC, we got Jackson State number one, and this is according to the NCAA website. For HBCU. So number one, we got Jackson State. Number two, we got Alabama State, and this is just all together for HBCU power rankings, including the MEAC. So Jackson State number one. Number two is Alabama State, which I think Alabama State gonna be number one once the season progresses. But Jackson State is just holding that record right now because of what they did last year. South Carolina State is three. Number four is North Carolina Central. Number five is Tennessee State. Number six is Howard. Number seven is Southern. Number eight is Prairie View A&M. Number nine is Delaware State, and number 10 is Alabama A&M. Do you agree with this list, Coach?
Southern is way too damn high for my liking. Honestly, I
That's
would have
real.
kept the Alabama
Now, for all
A&M
the
Southern.
ones that's talking about Coach it takes up for Southern, that's real for your ass right there.
Way real.
Big Joe, I see you, man. He said salute to the family.
Yes, sir. Salute Big Joe, Mr. Old Hillside.
Old Hillside. Speaking of Old Hillside, thank you. Those of you that like bourbon or like to have a drink around the house, make sure you go to www.oldhillside.com. Again, that is www.oldhillside.com. You can put that in Google and you will bring up the website and you'll see these this product. It's a very good product. So even if you don't drink and you know some uncle or auntie that likes to have some bourbon around the house, get it for them, man. This is black owned, so support. Please support.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
that's I definitely agree, man. That Southern is I think they're going off of because Southern was the top to
Yeah,
come out
more
the
than
West
anything, the
last
fact
year.
that more than anything, the fact that they wanted blue bloods and the legacy aspect of it. But I mean, all the issues you have, you know, in terms of your starting quarterback, uh, having concussions. He got a concussion in 2 of the last 3 games he's played in. Your backup quarterback is a glorified running back playing quarterback. You have a lot of turnovers in terms of fumbles, running all this inside zone, all the penalties you have. Your wide receiving core leaves a lot to be desired. In addition to that, defensively, your defensive line is a pop tart. It's soft in the middle. In many instances, you have an all-world defensive end and 3 substitute defensive linemen to go along with them. A suspect secondary, and you suspect in terms of, the kicking game. So Southern has a lot of holes in their roster, a lot of deficiencies in their team overall as a whole. I'm not saying they can't turn it around, but as of right now, they definitely struggling, to say the least.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Um, but okay, let's move on to those who we've been sleeping on our SIAC and CIAA fans, coach. Those who are HBCU fanatics, and we haven't been getting the Division II HBCU some love. Um, so tomorrow we got Benedict versus Central State
Who you
on the
got, bro?
side. I got Benedict,
Yeah, I'm going with Benedict too.
and then we got Morehouse versus Howard. We already picked Howard.
Yep.
And then we got Tuskegee versus Jackson State tomorrow. We got Jackson
Jackson
State.
State by curb stomping.
We got tomorrow is a rematch. Virginia Union versus Ed, Edward Waters, which Coach Dooley and the quarterback I'm blanking
Noah
on his name.
Biden.
Noah
Noah
Biden
Biden.
is now over there at Edward Waters. Last year, the reason why I say a rematch last year, Edward Waters upset Virginia Union.
And I think they're gonna beat him again this year. I'm going with Noah Biden and Eric Dooley.
Yeah, me too. I got Edward Waters again.
Yes, sir.
And then we already picked Miles versus Alabama State.
Uh-huh.
We already got Alabama State.
Alabama State by curb stomping.
And then Lane versus Allen. I got Allen.
I got Allen also.
And then we got Albany versus Florida A&M. Of course, we picked Florida
FAMU
A&M.
by curb stomping.
And then we Kentucky State. No,
Grambling gonna beat the
Kentucky
brakes
State
off them.
versus Grambling. And then, of course, we picked Grambling.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into next week. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the CIAA. So tomorrow we got Shaw versus Ferrum College. I got Shaw.
I
And
do
then
too.
tomorrow, and then after that we got Johnson C. Smith versus Elizabeth City
I'm
State.
going with Elizabeth City State, you dig?
I got Johnson C. Smith.
Well,
Um,
we opposing each other on that one.
yeah, I got Johnson C. Smith. It's gonna be a good game, but I got Johnson C. Smith, them Golden
Mm-hmm.
Bulls, pulling it out. Then
Yeah.
Bowie, we already picked Delaware State against Bowie State. Um, and then Virginia Union versus Edward Waters. We already
With
picked Edward
Waters.
Waters.
Uh-huh.
Then we got Lincoln, PA versus Winston Salem State.
Yeah, I'm going Winston Salem State.
I
You
do
know,
too.
that's where Pete Richardson came from, for those that don't know.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
And it, and then we got Bluefield State versus Wingate University.
Go on, Wingate.
Wingate gonna win that. And then uh Fayetteville State versus North Carolina Central. Of course,
North
um
Carolina
I want
Central.
I want Fayetteville State to win, but that's not gonna happen. North
It's
Carolina
not gonna
Central
happen
can win.
whatsoever.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Shout out to the Ville. Um, but yeah, those are good games that's going on over there for the CIAA and the SIAC. Um, so for the standings right now, Bowie State for the CIAA, Bowie State is number one in the conference. Number two is Johnson C. Smith. Number three is Virginia Union. Number four is Bluefield State. Number five is Livingstone, which that's going to change because Virginia State is going to move up. Virginia State is sixth. Winston-Salem State is seventh, and uh, then you got the bottom feeders like Lincoln. Well, Shaw's going to move up, and then Elizabeth City State, and then Fayetteville State. Fayetteville State always been the middle of the road, meaning that they may make it to the CIAA championship one year, and then next year they just average. So you don't know what ball club you're gonna get with Fayetteville State. So, but they're gonna move up. They're
Yeah.
gonna move.
And every time I think of Lincoln, I think of Pete Richardson Classic. Because those were Lincoln and Allen was the two teams that really that Pete Richardson used to start the season out, just kind of let's play them and whoop up on a team like them.
Smart, smart. And
Yeah.
then for the SIAC, we got Edward Waters leading. Um, Albany State second, third Tuskegee, fourth Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta may continue to move up. Fifth is Kentucky State. Uh, Sixth is Benedict. Seventh is Savannah State. Eighth is Lane College. Ninth is Morehouse. 10th is Fort Valley State. 11th is Allen. Central State is almost the last, but the final college is Miles. But all that's gonna. I know Allen's gonna move up a little bit in Fort Valley State, but yeah, that. But the main people that are leading in the standards for the SAC is Ed Waters and Albany State.
Yeah.
Which, and then Tuskegee is
And it's
also
crazy
one
how
more.
you got former SWAC quarterbacks, like Zy McDonald at Clark Atlanta. You got Noah Bodden at Edward Waters. So I mean, you got some SWAC quarterbacks that went down a level. You know what I'm saying?
And then you got one of former Owen. He used to be with Alabama State. I think yeah, he's quarterback with Fayetteville State now.
All right.
But yeah, it's gonna be some good football going on, man. It's gonna be good football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But anything else we missing, Coach? Before we wrap it up, man.
Well, for all those individuals that rock with the boy, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow on my channel, myself and Chris the Method Man Williams, we're gonna have a live stream pregame Southern at Fresno State. Of course, Southern and Fresno State, they're not gonna play until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Because they're out there, they're gonna play on Mount West TV. And then I'm gonna do a post game reaction like I always do, post game live stream. Hopefully I don't have the buffering issues I've been having. But I'm gonna get it out the mud. But y'all come over and rock with the boy. I'm gonna do a double header tomorrow. Pre-game show, post-game show on my channel. Appreciate everybody. The Fanatics were in the building again tonight.
Yes, sir. And I will put this disclaimer. I have to do. I think it will be um, unresponsible for me not to do so. Uh, So those who going out and seeing some ball and going to the HBCU campuses, please be careful since a certain person was deleted or lost their life. A lot of cowards are threatening to go to HBCU and campuses and causing havoc or may even try to hurt people. So make sure you keep your head on the swivel. Make sure you stay prayed up. Do whatever you got to do. Um, if you carry, make sure you carry that thing on you to protect your family, your loved ones, people around you. So y'all just be careful out there. But
Yeah, well, weekend, Carroll High was supposed to play against Southern Lab, but the campus was closed since yesterday. So Southern Lab didn't play against Carroll. They had to move the game to Broadmoor High School. So, Southern campus is going to be closed until I think maybe Monday or Tuesday. So Alabama State campus was closed. So a lot of HBCU campus has been closed this weekend.
yeah, go, Big Joe said, "Man, F Fresno State." Yeah, because they bit San Jose State and Fresno State are bitter rivals.
Bitter
Yeah,
rivals, yeah.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, Big Joe. I mean, Southern my team, but they coming out there to Cali to get a spanking, bro. I mean, it is what it is. And truthfully,
You cutting out, coach.
a
You just
hot
went
take.
over.
But if I
We
was
can hear you now.
Southern, I'll let McCoy play the first quarter, first half. Then after that, I'll let Dylan Compton play to see what he could do. People.
People just heard part of what you said, coach, because you did the robot.
Oh, my bad, bro. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Well, I say if I was Southern, I would only play Cameron McCoy maybe a quarter, maybe a half. I would throw Dylan Compton in there to see what he could do.
Yeah, I think that would be smart. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But this has been another installment of Southern Baller Show, another fun show. I know it was late, but we had to, Coach was doing his broadcasting, and I had to get this show out the way, so we can give let y'all give y'all some updates of what's going on HBCU ball. So we appreciate your patience and bearing with us. But coach, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
Yeah. Shout out. You could, well, first for their radio broadcast tonight. So shout out to them. But you can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms. However, I'm here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV. I'm gonna do a pregame live stream for the game against Fresno State and a post-game live stream. Y'all come over to my channel and rock with me. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings, and salute to the awesome and amazing LDBC.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And this was another installment of the HBCU Fanatics. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.
Peace.
Peace.